Okay, say sadhu 3 times.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Okay, good morning, everybody. Okay, today it's a good experience for all of you to come to a great religious place in Sri Lanka like this and get enlightened yourselves about Buddhism and the practices that we follow in Sri Lanka. And uh, with those understanding, you will be getting a lot of things. So I'm not going to deliver a sermon in this time because of the time constraint. So I'm going to engage in a discussion for the better understanding of all of you. It will be very fruitful than delivering a Dhamma talk at this moment. Okay, for about half an hour, I'll be raising. I'm Reverend Mandiave P. Ratana, senior lecturer in English and head of the Department of Languages of the Bhikkhu University of Sri Lanka. He is Venerable Dapani Chandaratana Thero, lecturer in Buddhist studies. We are working together. He is one of the co-lecturers. So I'll be raising some questions to him and then he'll be giving answers. At the end, we will take about 15 minutes. We will answer your questions. So you can raise any question and I will be answering. I'll be responding to your questions as well. Okay. Today you came to the Abhayagiri monastery, and this is one of the great religious places in Sri Lanka. In the past, there were about 5,000 monks living in the surrounding environment. When you go and visit the ruins, you can understand it very clearly. Okay, we will start with taking refuge. Okay, even with the guidance given to us for the discussion also. Did you observe precepts in the morning in the sign room?
Yes.
5 precepts. Before starting 5 precepts, you took the refuge in Triple Dam. Did you take refuge in Triple Dam?
Yes.
You sometimes you might have been reciting Buddhang Saranang Gacchami, Dhammang Saranang Gacchami, Sanghang Saranang Gacchami, like that. Okay. So I would like to raise the question to Venerable Dapani Chandaratana Thero, lecturer in Buddhist studies. So, what is the meaning of taking refuge?
Okay, and good morning, all of you. I am also very happy to be here with you and share the Buddha's doctrine with you. And in the morning, you took the refuge of Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha. And I am going to explain the meaning in relation to the Theravada Buddhism. So we know that in here there may be different Buddhist from different countries. I mean, all of you from America, no? And but you usually follow the Tibetan Buddhism and Tantrayana. I means, but I exactly don't know. However, we take and we go Buddha for as your refuge because of we must contemplate and we must remember the Buddha as a great one. So this is the first step how to become a Buddhist. And even in the time of the Buddha, some disciple became a Buddhist after go Buddha as their refuge. That is the one of thing. As a foreign also, at the beginning, you may have observed the 5 precepts and you have go to the Buddha as a refuge. I means, and we know that in the Buddha has 9 attributes, 9 qualities. No, Buddha has 9 qualities. Itipiso, Bhagava, Arahan, Samma, Sambuddho, etc. They are explained 9 qualities. Dhamma has 6 qualities. Sakato, Bhagavata, Dhammo, Sandittiko. And same time, Sangha has also 9 qualities. Supatipanno, Bhagavato, Sahavaka Sangha, etc. In the Buddha is fully enlightened one. So we remember he has completely overcome all the defilement. So we remember his attribute in our mind and we take refuge as the Buddha. And Dhamma is something preached by the Buddha. So we believe that Dhamma will protect us. And Sangha is well trained. Sangha is well trained, his doctrine. So we go to the Sangha as our refuge. But you must remember that Buddha is not a god. Okay? That is the first thing. Buddha cannot protect you. Okay? Do you agree with me?
Yes.
Yes. Buddha cannot protect you because he is not a god. He showed the path for you to attain Nibbana and to make your life happiness. Okay? So he is not a god. Buddha has said that if you practice my Dhamma, Dhamma would protect you. Okay? If you practice 5 precepts, you will protect by 5 precepts. That is the Buddha's teaching. He cannot protect you and your wealth and other things. So we must practice his Dhamma. So as a beginner, we usually go the Buddha for as our refuge. And once time, one person asks Buddha, "Who are you?" One person. And because Buddha is not a usual human being, and he asks, "Are you a god?" Buddha reply, "No, I am not a god." Then he again asks, "Are you a supernatural being?" "No, I am not a supernatural. I am natural." Then, then please explain me, who are you? Then Buddha said, "Abhinyayang abhinyatang." And what I should know about this world, I have already understood. Bhavitabbanta bhavitang. The qualities, good things that have to cultivate, I have already cultivated. Pahatabbam pahinamya. Bad thing, I have removed all the bad attitude in my life. So I am called as a Buddha. That is the Buddha. So these qualities and this attribute we remember always. That is the beginning of our refuge. That is why we are going as Buddha as a refuge, Dhamma as refuge, Sangha as refuge. Remembering those things. Okay? I mean, it is enough for if there are any question you can ask later.
Okay, now you could understand why we take refuge in Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha. Buddha was the person who understood the nature of things. He became enlightened with a great struggle, practicing a lot of qualities known as perfections, parami. There are 10 perfections. So by following, practicing the proper path, he didn't follow extremes. Okay, he didn't torture the body. He didn't give happiness only, but he followed the middle path. By following the middle path, he became an enlightened one. So, having attained the enlightenment, he preached the doctrine. Doctrine reveals the true nature of things. Then he created the community of Sangha, monks. Then the monks, having followed the path revealed by the Buddha, work for the benefit of people. So in that way, we consider as Buddhists the triple gem. We take refuge in Buddha and Dhamma and Sangha. So we consider Natti me saranang anyang, Buddho me saranang warang. Natti me saranang anyang, Dhammo me saranang warang. Nattimi Sarananganyang, Sanghomi Saranangvarang. We consider the greatest refuge for us is the Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha, because the Buddha has showed us the correct path to follow by teaching his doctrine. If we follow the doctrine, so we can get the relief from everything. So it means you are virtuous. You become a virtuous person. You are not practicing bad things. You are not harming anyone because you are following the doctrine of the Buddha. So you follow the instructions of the Sangha. It means community of monks. At present, monks engage in a lot of religious activities by advising people, by preaching the doctrine preached by the Buddha. So in this way, the three refuge help us a lot. That is why you even as beginners sometimes observed or took refuge in Buddha and Dhamma and Sangha. Then, so we need to become moral persons. After taking refuge in Triple Gem, Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha, you observed precepts, okay? Sila, morality. So I would like to raise a question from Venerable Sir. What's the meaning of morality or sila?
And morality means that behavior. So English word, I think you well know about the English word ethics, no? And morality and ethics is the English word. Behavior means good behavior. Then this morality, sila, ethics teach us what to do and what not to do. This is the simple meaning of your practice of sila. But in Visuddhi Magga, path of purification, great work done by one of monk who live in this monastery, Venerable Buddha Ghosa, he explained that sila can tame and train us. Because in other days, you are not like this, no? You are doing so many things, working here and there, no? And speaking with each other, chatting with others. But today you have trained and tame in this place because why? You have observed 5 precepts in front of this place. So you have achieved so many things. So sila, another meaning is restrain your body and speech. Only 2 things. You have to done only 2 things. Restrain your body and speech. How you can restrain your body? Because everything we do through our body, no? Killing is doing by our hands and other ways. And using our speech, usually we speak with other harsh speech, no? Bad words. So you have to train your words and body. So that is the seal. On the another way, there are 2 ways of seal. One thing is abstaining. Abstain means you should not kill. It is not enough, okay? Remember that. It is not enough. On the other hand, you have to cultivate, develop loving kindness towards others. This is the 2 way how to develop this morality, sila. And in the same time, sila, there are different kind of sila. 5 precepts, there are 5. 8 precepts, 10 precepts, precept of the monk, precept of the nuns. There are 227 rules, precept for us and both us. We practice those things. And 311 precept for nuns, for Buddhist nuns. As a lay people, you have to only protect only 5. Okay, very easy.
At the very beginning.
We have to protect more than 200. So this, but the problem is, even though we cannot protect even these 5, no, that is the reason. That is the way how. And these 5 are not a teaching of the Buddha. This is the universal rule. Even in your country, killing is a great offense, no? No? It is a rule. Even in your country, what is called stealing is a
It's an
punishmentable offense. And also telling lies in a court, you will be punished in prison, no? Telling lies. So these are in the everywhere in the universe, not a Buddha's teaching, but we can easily practice those things and those precepts. But however, always we cannot practice those things, no? When we talk about the 8 precepts, we must not engage dancing, singing, and using perfumes. But we cannot do those things in our usual life, day-to-day life, because we have to use perfumes and not. As a Buddhist monk, we don't use those things. We do not engage singing, dancing, using perfumes. But as a lay people, we have to do those things. However, in this country, Sinhalese Buddhists, they practice those things on one day. It is a Poya day. Once a month, they practice this 8 precept and 10 precept. So precept mean good behavior. Okay, when you have good behavior, it will be effect for everywhere, every life in this society. Even this what is called animal and trees and other things also. No, we know that we are living in very dangerous society with the environmental problems. No, even Buddhism prohibited to even cut off a branch of tree for us. We cannot cut off these trees. Buddha has prohibited for us. It is an offense for us.
Okay.
So
Now,
that is how we protect our environment, people, and other things through our sila morality. Okay.
okay. Now you can understand. Even for monks, nuns, lay people, we have certain kind of precepts. So we have to become moral persons. Then the society will be a better place to live. So why, Reverend Sir, why does morality become the foundation of Buddhism then? I think
Yes. It is the basic thing in the Buddha has as a Buddhist we have aims. First one is living a good life in this world. Okay, and usually Buddhists believe the afterlife, no, but Christian they sometimes they believe only one life after death, but Buddhism believe existence of samsara continuously, so we expect afterlife. First one is live happy life in this world. Second one, be a happy life in the next world. And final one aim is attain to Nibbana. To achieve this, our objective, Buddha has created 3 practices: Sila, morality; Samadhi, concentration; Panya, wisdom. These are the 3 practices. Once upon time, one of God, sometimes Buddhism also believe God, okay, remember that. Some kind of gods, okay, came to in front of Buddha and asked, there are problems inside with us, inside of our life and outside. How we can resolve these problems, no? Do you have problems inside and outside? Inside mean our mentality, no? Jealousy, ill will, and hate always created within our mentality. And also family problems, children problems, and problem in the place we are doing jobs. No, we always face to different problems in our life. So Buddha explained that Sila, you must have a concentration and wisdom which is based on Sila. When you develop your behavior based on the Sila, you never speak when harsh word, bad things. Then your mind is concentrated, and then arise automatically wisdom. You can understand the reality of the world. So first of all, you must have a good behavior. That is mean Sila. That is the way how it's become a foundation of Buddhism. Then you achieve concentration, wisdom, and finally attain Nibbana.
okay, Venerable Sir, by observing those precepts, if we become moral persons, so what are the benefits that
Yes.
we can obtain by being moral?
Yes, being moral. Do you like to have a massive wealth? Wealth? No. Some people don't like, but
Different kinds of wealth is available. I mean,
Yes.
spiritual wealth.
Spiritual
Even,
wealth,
it's a kind of
Yes.
or material wealth.
material wealth.
Okay.
But Visuddhi Magga, Path of Purification, is a one of book written by the Buddha Ghosh, a great disciple of the Buddha. He explained 5 results of practicing of these sila. First one is you may get large amount of wealth because of practicing this. Okay, because of your good behavior. No, when you are engaging in a job, it must be done in the proper way without doing bad things. Then you will receive good wealth. And second one is when you are practicing sila, your good name will be spread throughout the society. No, that is a good person. His behavior very is good. For example, there are many famous person in the world. No, Mahatma Gandhi and who's Dalai Lama and Abraham Lincoln. They have a good behavior. No, they are very famous among us. If we have a good behavior, we are also become famous with others. Okay, and on the other hand, you can go to any place, any assembly without fear and hesitation. For an example, you are doing a job in a certain company. Sometimes some people engage in small stealing of some items. No, small stealing something, they are doing some mistakes. Then what happened? You cannot go to the in front of your boss because you are mentally, I have stolen something. So hesitation, fear to arise the place. But if you have a good morality, you don't have any hesitation. You can go to even the in front of your king of the country without any fear and hesitation. You know that I haven't done any bad things. That is one of things. And another result is at the death stage, we all of us have to die, in the death, face to death. At the death stage, we have seen many people are suffering, at the final stage because of their bad deeds. Remember to him at the death stage. Bad deeds. We cannot forget those things. If you have killed someone, if you have stolen massive wealth, at the death, exactly you remember those things. We cannot stop it. And the same time, if you have done good things in your life, charity and meditation, bhavana, they also exactly remember at the death. So, in this remembering is bring to happiness of your life in the next life. If you have done good things, you can have a good life.
Okay.
And also, last one is you will be born in a good place. Okay, in a good heaven. It's mean heaven. Okay, in the time of the Buddha, there was a person who was killing the pigs. Okay, his job is a killing pigs in front of the Buddha's monastery. He never go to the meet the Buddha. He always practice killings. The final stage, he scream as a pig at the death. He scream as a pig. That is a result of killing. We cannot stop. Even in the modern society, we have seen some people how they are suffering from some diseases because of their previous karma, bad deeds. Okay, if you practice this sila, you can achieve those 5 qualities, 5 things in your life.
Okay. Now you can understand that the basis of being Buddhist. So you have to being a moral person. Then you can train yourselves well, and even from you, the people will benefit a lot. So there are many benefits that we can obtain from being a moral person. So we are not going to elaborate on them more and more because time is limited. So I invite all of you to go through the discourses spread by the Buddha, and only by going through those discourses, you can understand what the Buddha preach. You can judge yourself. So, what is this? Is the content of this course. So, since all of you use the technology, you can use the website like mettanet.lk. Mettanet.lk. In that, you have Tipitaka in Pali, and English translation is also there. You can just take, copy them and read mettanet.lk. Just read some discourses, then you will have a good understanding on them. So you can explore Buddhism. If you take one discourse, just examine the content of the discourse. So you can explore more through the internet. A lot of explanations are there on particular discourse. Okay, so you have come to a Theravada country. Venerable Sir, will you please briefly explain what the significance of Theravada Buddhism?
Yes, I mean all of are you from Tantrayana or Tantrayana Buddhism in Tibet, no? Mahayana. So I think do you have knowledge about what is the difference between Theravada and Mahayana? No, do you know? Yes, no. And Theravada, they believe we can attain Nibbana in a three way: Buddhahood, Pacceka Buddhahood, and Arahant. But Mahayana, great vehicle. Hinayana means low vehicle. There are many vehicles, three vehicles. Mahayana means great vehicle, one vehicle for attainment of the Nibbana. It is the Buddhahood. That is why they call everyone is Bodhisattva. Their path is to attain Nibbana, Bodhisattva. This is the basic difference between Mahayana and Theravada. But these two sectors are very much important to the Buddhism, because if I compare Theravada and Mahayana to bird, one wings of the bird is a Theravada, other wings of the bird is the Mahayana. Okay, these two teachings are very much important for together, because there are many philosophical importance of this Mahayana tradition, and same time in Theravada there are many important rules for practice. When these two are combined together, we can result a good doctrine of the Buddhism. And also I have to explain one thing, because he asked me to explain what is five precepts very briefly. I explain, okay, because you have practiced today five precepts.
Did you observe in the morning 5 precepts?
Five precepts.
Yes.
I
And
abstain from taking. Okay, just continue.
first one is a killing, no? I think you don't engage any killing, but simple mosquitoes and other things you are sometimes automatically happen to kill, no? Intrinsically, without intention, sometimes you kill some beings. It is not a bad, okay? Without intention. There must be an intention of killing. Without intention, it is not a bad deed. Intention is the first one. Okay, killing is something basic rule in everywhere, every world. Okay, it is keep the right of living of every beings. Okay, not human being. As I explained, Buddha explained that there are two living beings, moving and unmoving. Movings are human beings, animals, and other things. Unmovings, these trees and flora and fauna, everything. We must protect all these things according to Buddhism. Second one is stealing, no? Time stealing is also a bad, okay? Time waste. When we are doing job, we know what is stealing, no? Stealing something others. It is not, but very much important is we do not engage stealing those days, no? Because we know that it is a bad, but we think that stealing of the time is not bad. In your office time, you start at the 8 o'clock and you have to finish at 4 o'clock, usually in Sri Lanka. But you are leave the office at the 3 o'clock. It is a stealing of time, okay? It is a bad, okay? And stealing the intellectual properties. As a lecturer, sometimes our intellectual properties is stolen by someone. So intellectuality, okay, it is also stealing. And also sexual misconduct, and I also explain it, because we know that it is a big problem in the society in today. HIV and very big diseases arise because of misconduct. Buddha not prohibited to conduct it. You can engage it, but misway. Misway means you should not engage without your husband or wife. That is the Buddhist doctrine. As a Buddhist, Buddhist monk, we completely abstain from that. Practice. When you are practice, you can easily practice it. No, it is difficult. But Buddha did not preach it is for lay people, but he asks lay people to at least abstain from misconduction. That is the way. Then we can keep the peace of the family. No, we can abstain from, we can reduce the diseases. Next one is telling lies. No, very difficult to keep it. No, you have to sometimes tell lies because in the day-to-day life. Okay, so however we have to keep it. Last one is using intoxicant liquors. It is not what is punishmentable offense in any country, no. But according to the Panchasila, 5 precepts, it is offense. Why it become offense? Why Buddha has promulgated that kind of things? We know that liquor is not something very bad, no? Do you mean that? Because person who drink alcoholic liquor can break every precept. No, he can kill people, he can steal, he can engage sexual misconduction, he can tell lies. So that is why Buddha prohibited using intoxicant liquors, because the person who has used alcoholic liquor do not believe others, because we can't believe the person who always use alcoholic liquor. They can break everything. Okay.
Okay, now you can understand. You can read on them further and further and have a good understanding of them, because you have many resources at present. With a brief understanding, you can explore the teachings of the Buddha on precepts and all the other things. Did you offer things in the morning? What are the objects that you offered? Did you offer flowers?
Yes.
Did you offer incense sticks?
Yes.
Okay, the Venerable Sir, would you please explain what is the meaning of making offerings in the name of the Buddha?
Yes.
In brief.
So usually it is actually culture. Okay, remember that, not Buddhist philosophy. Philosophy is different from the culture, and usually we engage dana, sila, bhavana. Dana means charity. Sila means this program, and bhavana means you have done bhavana. But when we are offering to the Buddha something, we also remember the philosophy of the Buddha. Okay, we offer to the flower to the Buddha and remembering the impermanent nature of the world. Okay, this flower is blooming, fade away at the evening. In the morning it is bloom, no, and the evening it is fade away. So in the same manner, our life is
Undergoing decay.
Undergoing decay and
to the nature of impermanence.
That is the meaning of offering those things. And we offer the candle and what is
Incense.
Usually candle means the light. Light means wisdom. To achieve the wisdom, we offer the lights for the Buddha. In that way, these traditions have a meaning. Okay, there is no any meaningless offerings or things. Okay.
So Buddha was a virtuous person. So we just by offering flowers, you have the fragrance. The Buddha had the power of the fragrance with his morality. He was very moral. So we just intend by offering the flower in the name of the Buddha. In the same way, may the virtue of may the scent of moral be with me. So like that, we offer incense sticks and fragrances there. In the same way, we may have the power to have some sort of power with our morale and so on.